Welcome to the Paranormal Pendle podcast, coming to you from the heart of Pendle Witch Country in the northwest of England. My name is Craig Bryant, author, investigator and collector of stories. Join me as we take a journey into the paranormal, UFO sightings, cryptozoology and big cats. This is the Paranormal Pendle podcast. Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Paranormal Pendle podcast. Now, before we start today's podcast, there's just a couple of things that I want to mention. First of all, I'd just like to thank everybody who's got in touch with me recently by email and by social media, asking if everything's okay. It has been a while since I've put a podcast out. I appreciate people getting in contact. You know that I've replied to all of you individually, so thank you again for for your concern. There's a number of reasons why I haven't put a podcast out recently. The main one is really that I've been extremely busy, and actually doing a podcast is very, very time consuming. Finding the guests, doing the actual interview, getting all the questions ready, doing the editing, and then putting the podcast out. It is ridiculously time consuming at times, if I can get my words out. And so I've been working mainly on my second book, and I've also been doing radio interviews for other people. I did one for Howard Hughes of the Unexplained radio show a couple of weeks ago, and again that takes quite a bit of preparation, getting all the subjects together and making sure I know what I'm talking about. So yes, I've been a little bit tardy with the podcast. I'm hoping to be able to start speaking to some guests, hopefully from over in America. I've got a Zoom call today with a lady who has a number of guests that she can put me in contact with. So I'm hoping to widen my net of guests, shall we say, and hopefully that will mean that there'll be a few more podcasts coming. But as I said, you know, it's really nice to hear from people. I really do appreciate it. And, you know, it's always nice to get really positive feedback. So thank you very much. And it does really spur me on to do more interviews. So thank you for that. Now, this episode of the podcast is a little bit different to ones that I've done in the past. First of all, I've managed to reach double figures in podcasts, which is quite an achievement for me. But the subject of this podcast is a recording of a walkthrough, if you like, of a school that I visited. And it's the school which is mentioned in the book, The Shadow Man of Accrington. There's an awful lot of paranormal activity in the school. I was taken on a guided tour by one of the maintenance guys, a guy called Stuart. So you'll hear him explaining what goes on during the podcast. You'll also hear myself, my wife Sarah, and my son James came along as well. So you may well hear some other extra voices in there as well. And it's unedited. It's as it happened. It lasted about 45 minutes. He took us on a guided tour. There are certain parts where you will notice that, or you will hear that parts of the school were quite strange. They felt quite weird to both myself and to Sarah. We didn't know in advance that these particular areas were the sort of centres of paranormal activity within the school, the canteen being a good example. So everything you hear is unedited, everything you hear happened as it happened, and I hope that you'll find it interesting. And there's certainly some really interesting stuff in it. Stuart was quite keen to tell us about everything that went on. So I hope you enjoy it, and again, thank you for everybody that gets in touch, and hope you enjoy the podcast. Thank you.
Yeah. They're on now. This set of lights is on one light switch down there, and then the next level down they're on one light switch. Just these, all the corridors are on motion sensors. You can be sat in here at night.
Yeah.
All these lights will go out one by one, and then all around the building, all the classrooms will go out one by one.
So each individual light.
Each individual light.
And yet they're all on the same
on
ring
one switch,
on
yeah.
one switch.
Yeah.
That's weird, isn't it?
So they all go out one by one. Then the entire building is in complete darkness. None of emergency lights come on. Nothing comes on.
Right.
Usually lasts for about 10-20 minutes,
Right.
and then they'll start coming on one by one.
Okay.
But when that happens,
Yeah.
you can hit photocopiers going, and they're all on a keypad. So you can't access the photocopiers unless you type to.
So unless you know the keypad. So what's it built on this then? Do you know?
All up here were houses,
Right.
and houses going back that way.
Okay.
Down next to the traffic light on corner was
Yeah.
a pub,
Right.
and then just roughly where that playground is on the corner coming down
Yeah.
was a graveyard. And the church was
right.
just a bit
Okay.
further up.
So has it been knocked down, the church then?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Right, that's a question. What would you like the buildings for this building?
They're all houses.
Okay.
They knocked rows and rows of houses down to build all this.
Okay.
So when was it built this then? About 60s?
10 years ago.
Was it only 10 years ago?
Yeah.
All right.
So
Okay.
it was just like fields.
Right.
No, they're
So
houses.
right. All right. So
Yeah.
we're in the main hall area in the entrance.
All them streets there, terrace houses going back that way. Well, that's what it was like. Terrace houses come down, and then.
Right. So it's likely then that there is something that used to be in something connected with the houses.
Well, if you read back through Lancashire Telegraph, if you trace it right back to when they started building this place,
Yeah.
when they're exhuming bodies down in the bottom corner, they didn't take them all out.
Right.
They got so far down, and then, right, that'll do. And there was a big outcry about it, saying that they didn't exhume all of them.
Yeah.
So whether that's got something to do with it.
Right.
That corridor there at the top, that's level 3. That's where you see most of the stuff happening.
All right. Okay. Can we have a walk up there?
Yeah. We'll go down this way.
All right. Brilliant.
Oh, massive.
Pause that then.
We just have a whole.
Oh no, sorry, it's just, so I'm just trying to work out how to do it rather than scribbling notes down.
Yeah.
All right, so it's not that old a school then.
No, it was built 10 years ago.
I remember when it weren't here. I lived up in, got off Roman Road in the early mid-90s.
Right.
I remember when they built this.
So do the staff know about what goes on?
Yeah. Yeah, well, some do, some don't.
And the pupils? Have any pupils sort of come, had any experiences or? Because I know you mentioned the music room, didn't you?
Yeah. A lot of the times, kids will hear the drums playing.
And there's nobody there.
Well, they don't know that. They just assume that there's somebody in practice rooms.
Right.
And some of the members of staff, we've got one guy, he walked on and he was like into picking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he'd heard the drums playing a lot and he just assumed it were kids practicing.
Right.
Until he walked in the room one day and there was nothing there.
But he could hear the drums.
But he could hear the drums.
How weird.
And he took a chair into one of these practice rooms.
Yeah.
And as he put the chair down, the drum banged. When he turned around, there was nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing had fallen. Nobody else went round. Music corridors this way.
Okay. Sorry.
All this side of the building has always been fine. You never feel uneasy over this side at all.
Right.
You always feel fine.
Yeah.
It's the worst one is this corridor, and then down in bottom corner in bottom canteen. That's
Okay.
why it's pretty bad.
And is this the part of the building that is now built on where the graveyard was?
The very far corner is, well, like from beyond them doors going
Yeah.
back, like that's the corner.
Right.
That's like on the graveyard bit.
Okay. So walking down the corridor towards the music room, down near where the graveyard used to be. Right. Very interesting.
So all the lights are on motion sensors.
Yeah.
So these lights will come on in a second. They'll go past the sensor. Sensor's there.
Yeah.
From the other side, there's no sensor. So if you come up the stairwell on the other side, the lights won't come on. You're in complete darkness until you get to this point.
Right.
But many a times I've been sat in staff room and the lights will come on.
These lights have come on.
and you know there's nobody in the building, but the lights will come on.
They're just outside the music studio. Right.
Wings whistling.
This is the practice room with the drums that are playing most of the time.
Okay. Oh, right, okay.
And I've even had it where I've been here at night on my own, my daughter's come.
Yeah.
She's been in the music room further round. We've been in here, the drumsticks have been on the floor.
Yeah.
She's been sat in music room on her own. I've been up in sports hall and she's rung me up. And you're messing around playing drums.
Right.
No, I've come back. There's been a drumstick on the drum.
Actually on the drum.
And she's been hearing bang, but she's been playing piano and someone's been playing drumming times at piano.
How weird.
Were there scars
So,
on this before?
Pardon?
Was there like scars on this before, mate?
Yeah, no, there's always scratches on that, yeah.
So it's what? It's only about 6 foot by 10 foot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's only a small room.
With a drum kit and a piano. So the drum kit and the piano have been playing along in time.
Yeah, she's been in another room round the corner playing piano, and that drum's been
Going.
yeah. Somebody turn that light on.
Yeah, sorry, thanks. Sorry.
Yeah, this corridor, like it's weird. There's yeah, it's a plant room in there.
It's quite a low ceiling, isn't it? Which sort of adds to that feeling of.
Impression.
It's oppressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can feel it's oppressive. Do you feel it's oppressive?
At night, especially when I'm on my own and I'm doing a lock-up and I'll come up here,
Yeah.
because the way I do my lock-up, I come up that stairwell and I come this way, and you get to these double doors and you start thinking, oh.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when you get that feel somebody's watching you.
So which level are we on now?
We're on
then?
level 3
This is
now.
level 3. All right, and then down below us is the canteen
On right on ground floor.
on ground
yeah.
floor, and that again is where you get some strange.
What's underneath
Yeah.
here then?
Underneath here,
Humanities. Was that on ground floor?
underneath here you got the art rooms directly underneath on level 2, level 1 DT rooms,
Right.
and then there's no level 0. It drops down to level -1 in this corner,
Right.
and that's where all that is.
You've got. So you've got a plant running in there.
What's a pump? What's a
It's a
pump?
boiler, like a.
Oh, sorry.
Because there's a rumble.
I thought it was
Might
like
be
an
on a
actual
ship.
plant.
Yeah, it's the air handling units and everything that's pumping all
What's
around.
happened to the ceiling?
The building's actually moving that way,
Right.
which,
Twisted.
don't put this in your book,
No.
because they didn't exhume all the bodies and didn't go down far enough with foundations.
It's shifting.
It's compressing down, so the whole building is doing this.
So that might
we'll need
that
underpinning eventually.
might explain why there is something that's not particularly happy if the
Yes.
building's pushing down.
Yeah. There's been two different things seen. There's a little boy dressed in Victorian gear.
Okay.
Um,
And which sort of area is he in then? Is he?
he's mainly up here, but he can be. I felt him in staff room,
Yeah.
but that doesn't happen often when he goes over that far.
And does anybody ever have any sort of interaction with him? The reason I'm asking is because one of the theories about ghosts is that it's almost like a replay, you know, like a recording.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we're up on the 3rd floor here. So if it was a replay of something that had gone on in the past, it would more likely to be down on the ground floor.
Yes,
Are you with
yeah.
me? Now, but if there are other types of poltergeists, for instance, that are more interactive, and
Yeah.
there seems to be some. Sarah used to live in a farm, and they had a poltergeist, and it used to throw things.
Yeah. Well, I've had things thrown in here.
Have you?
Yeah.
Up on this level?
No, down on
the ground
near
floor.
bottom canteen,
Okay.
and I've seen things moving around down there.
Right.
We've had contractors in who've been working down in that area,
Yeah.
and they've seen things as well.
So just the everyday objects moving, just lifting up and moving about, sort of thing.
There were 3 of us walking. We heard talking. Basically, we were up in staff room. We could hear talking. Knew there was nobody else in the building,
Yeah.
so we went down to see if there were any sixth formers left.
Yeah.
And beyond bridge. And the talking sounded like it was coming from down at the bottom corner in the kitchen. So we walked down there,
Mm.
nothing. As we were coming back, there were 3 of us walking
Side by side, yeah.
and something diagonally come that way and hit the glass. So when I went over and had a look, it was a penny.
Right.
When I picked it up, it was red hot, this penny.
Were it?
Yeah, it was.
That's interesting.
It was red hot.
And was it a modern penny or was it an old penny? Can you remember? Don't matter.
It wasn't really old, no, but it wasn't a brand new one either.
Right, got you. So like 70s, 80s,
Yeah.
90s, something like that.
Yeah.
I was thinking if it was like one of the old.
Oh no, like
It was a proper decimal penny.
if it had been one of them, I'd have kept it.
Yeah.
No, it was just a normal penny.
But it was it so hot that you couldn't pick it up,
Yeah.
or was it?
Yeah, I went to pick it up, like, it was burning my hands.
That's interesting.
And
Isn't it?
even after a couple of minutes, it was still warm. That same night, we were stood next to Pegasus downstairs. I'll show you ladies after.
Yeah.
And we could still hear talking. It sounded like, you know, when you hear women wailing at a funeral.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like. It sounded like wailing.
That's interesting, isn't it? With it being a graveyard.
So I mean, we could all hear it. So we kept on looking. And if you stood next to Pegasus, you're looking down towards the canteen area.
Yeah.
There's a little office there with 2 fins outside of it.
Mm.
They started moving, and then they stopped dead. And we saw a shadow move past, like it was going into office.
Right.
If you look through one of the classrooms, you can see the corridor at the back,
Yeah.
which the lights were on, and you can see the shadow move across.
Was it a large shadow or
Yeah,
small?
it was
Was
quite- yeah.
So it was like an adult-sized,
Yeah.
or bigger than that, perhaps.
Well, there has been a lady seen down in the bottom canteen,
Right.
all dressed in black,
Right.
and just kind of like hovers around.
Mourning, in other words.
Yeah.
It all ties in, doesn't it? When you think about it logically, it all ties in as to why there's activity down there.
Yeah. Well, the little boy who was seen, there were some girls who were taking selfies and they stood in the doorway of that toilet,
Right.
took a selfie. When they looked at it, the little Victorian boy stood next to them, and they showed it to a teacher. They forwarded the picture onto a teacher, a history teacher who used to work here.
Right.
So she kept that. I don't know if she still got it or not, but she had that picture.
Do you know what she was called? Because you might know, because Sarah's a history teacher
I don't know many people.
in Blackburn now.
No, it's
Don't worry about it, it's alright.
when you're in Lancashire, it's the People's Republic of Blackburn.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Lancashire.
We've nicknamed this little lad Casper. So if anything,
Yeah.
if you hear drums playing or it likes to
Casper
messing
the
around,
Ghost.
like we talk to him, like, come on Casper, stop messing around. And
Does he react to...
he does. He
That's
tends
interesting.
to stop.
Well, that's why I said about it being on the 3rd floor, you see, because
Yeah.
if it's a ghost that interacts or does something if you tell it to,
Yeah.
then that suggests that it's not just a replay of something. You know, like for instance, you mentioned the woman.
Yeah.
That could just be a replay of obviously if there'd been a really traumatic incident and somebody had been buried.
Yeah.
And this woman was like, the energy can still be around and it can manifest itself. Some people are more susceptible to picking up on it than others.
Yeah.
So that sounds more like a sort of replay type energy thing, whereas this little boy that you're talking about, that's a little bit more interactive.
Yeah, he seems to be a bit more playful, this little lad.
Right, go on, Jane. Go on.
Like, as there's like the ghost been like attempting to reach the other people in the building.
There are some people who said they've felt something or seen something, but not sure. But a lot of them, because they haven't felt anything, they just dismiss it.
Yeah. Some people are more susceptible than others. I've come to that conclusion from talking to people. Do you know what I mean? Because I've had other people contact me since I've been putting stuff out on social media and whatever. And yeah, I mean, you meet some people and they just completely switched off to it.
Yeah.
And you meet other people like yourself, who's obviously had these experiences. It's almost like trying to tune a radio dial into a radio station. Do you know what I mean? And some people are tuned in, and some people are way off the scale.
Yeah.
Sarah's a little bit tuned in. I am to a certain degree, and I think my dad was as well. My dad used to say things. I mean, my dad passed away 20 years ago. My dad used to say things about, things. He was quite very close, my dad. But there were 2 or 3 things he said that he'd seen that were quite. When I think back about them now, they sort of make makes sense. Do you know what I mean? So he said he saw me granddad, not his dad, my mum's dad, on the day of his funeral. And when we all went back to my grandma's, and we had sandwiches and all that malarkey, he said I actually saw him sat in his chair. So
I've seen somebody else years ago. About 20, I've come out at Fielding's Arms at Fenner.
Yeah.
I was walking up Lizzie Ranch Road, and there were somebody else with us. And as we were walking up, we seen a young girl, who looks about 11 or 12, with a bike, pushing a bike on the road. Well, that's a bit odd, because it's like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
What's she doing? You could see, she were like a white smock on, long plaited hair. See her walking up, that's a bit odd. So we kind of sped up a bit to see who she were. Went into a driveway, and then that were it, gone. When we got to the driveway, there were gates going across it, but they were now rusty gates. You would have heard them open and shut. So I actually went and asked in an old folks home, just down the road, and they said, as the story goes, there were a young girl who worked at a mill. It was back in early 1900s. And she was coming home on her bike, and she got knocked over and killed. So, and apparently she has been seen by 3 people. She's going home. Yeah,
you see, that could well be like a sort of replay, because it's a really traumatic. When something traumatic happens like that, there could, some people think there's like a release of energy, and it's that energy that still hangs around.
Yeah.
In order for you to see the energy, you'll have to be something to do with atoms as well. You'll have to have like a baffle. You'll have to have something to do with atoms as well, so you can feel it and touch it. If you go near it, it won't have as much atoms in it, so you won't be able to feel or touch it.
No, that's true. So where's my wife disappeared to? Is she back out there?
I've been sat in the staff room before now. Every now and then you walk around the building, you get a cold spot.
Yeah.
And I used to put it down to, we have vents in ceilings, and sometimes they blow cold air out, so you put it down to that.
Yeah.
But you'd be walking down, and this corridor is particularly hot, and all of a sudden you'll go through a cold spot.
Yeah.
That's a bit odd. But I've been sat in the staff room, and it's gone freezing.
Yeah.
Really cold.
Yeah.
The seat next to me is like touching glass. It's like that outside glass, it's that cold.
Yeah.
And it just feels like somebody's hugging me.
Really?
Gone freezing, and the person sat there is red hot. I said, well, no, touch the seat next to me. They touch the seat's freezing.
And they just feel normal.
And they feel normal, like even like me to touch were freezing. But it felt, when you get that pressure and someone hugging you, that's what it felt like.
That's peculiar, isn't it?
For a couple of minutes, and then you can feel pressure release, and then it warmed up again.
Wow.
Bit weird.
Yeah, that is very weird, yeah. Very weird. How many times has that happened then?
That's only happened once, but I felt that. But as I've been walking around, I felt the cold spots quite a few times.
Right.
We'll go back down that way.
Okay.
Down into the bottom corner.
All right. That's brilliant. Thank you. That's fascinating, all this.
So I mentioned we never used to have CCTV cameras up here at all, and I kept on saying stuff to Bossy like, no, nothing like that happens. It doesn't exist.
Right.
It weren't until the guy who was installing the CCTV cameras, he was actually working down on like down the bottom of the corner.
Yeah.
And he was coming up the stairs to come back out onto the canteen level. You know what just catches your eye?
Yeah.
Like look round and so somebody were. It's like he's come up this stairwell everywhere. At the bottom he saw something. So like, he just instantly set off.
Yeah.
When he got onto level 1 corridor, the ceiling at the bottom collapsed.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll tell you something as well. There is a temperature difference up there than there is here. Now you'd think that the upper levels of the building would be warmer because of the hot air rising, but it is definitely cooler up there than it is down here. Isn't it?
Their music rooms are always a lot colder.
Yeah, you can feel it when you come to this stairwell. It's a lot warmer, isn't it, than up there?
I feel the same.
Do you feel like I could feel the difference?
The guy, he'd come up this stairwell and run out onto this corridor, onto level 1. And I actually heard him scream, so I've come out to see where he were.
Yeah.
He were here, he legged it out there. You can just see part of the ceiling dropping there.
Yeah.
A bit further down. About 4 or 5 of these panels just dropped at the floor. So when I went to put them back, The metal T-bars were really tight. I mean, you had to put them in diagonally.
So it would have taken a lot of leverage to get them out.
Yeah.
How weird.
How many ghosts live here?
We think 2. I think there's 2.
Do you think that maybe on and off they maybe stay here, like live here maybe?
I think they've been here for a long time. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have like a basement bit where all the pipes are in the building?
No, everything like that's on the roof. But when we drop down to the next level, there are some classrooms down there, and the teachers hate it down there. They call it the dungeon. They don't like it.
So it's underneath the building.
No, not really. We haven't really got any bit that's
Underground.
Under like glass and all.
No, we haven't really got it like that.
I hope it's recording this.
Tell you, minutes.
Yeah, 21 minutes. I can remember most of what I was saying anyway. Did you feel anything up there at all?
I did. I felt amazing.
Did you?
Yeah, when I looked in, it's
That room right at the end was a bit, when I looked in, that didn't feel quite right when I looked in there.
Which one?
The one right at the end, you know, with the music, where the drum kits were on the left-hand side, the music room at the bottom.
I should have said I've opened the door for you.
I just had a quick look in. I mean, it's very dark in there, so obviously.
the computer.
2 rooms there, that room's getting hit by wind, so it's moving a little bit.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, this is another nobody likes this corridor. The teachers who work on this corridor absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
There's a temperature difference here. There was a temperature difference just then, I think. Or it felt different.
Yeah. All the rest of the building I'm fine with. Even down at the bottom corner where the kitchen is, I'm fine with all that.
Yeah.
It's when I go up to the music corridor, I'm not happy with that.
No.
Is there anybody else in the building?
No one else. No, there is somebody else in the building, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's just like a basic.
They should be up on bridge in the pod. You're going to be walking about.
So we're on the ground floor now down here.
Right at the very front of the building now.
Right.
This kitchen here in corner.
Yeah.
One of the women from the kitchen, she was in here working away, like chatting away to her mate. Peripheral visions, you could see.
Yeah.
Because kitchen staff dressed black t-shirt, black pants.
Yeah.
So she's like, chatting away. As she turned round.
Can I just use this load?
Yeah, of course you can. It was just a woman, like, floating, all just completely in black. Like, she said there were no features, it was just black woman.
So that's that black woman again.
Yeah. So she just launched the tray of food that she had.
I can imagine.
Legged it upstairs. She still works here, but refuses to come down.
Right.
Here.
So where was that, in here?
This room here. Now, this is pretty much right in the corner of the building. There's a classroom a bit further down.
Right. So this is the food preparation area, the kitchen, and we're on the corner then where the graveyard was.
Yeah, there probably would have. Yeah, there would have been parts of graves here, but we're not at the very far corner of the building yet.
Yeah.
There is a story about that here as well.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't like it in here. I don't like it in here. I actually felt a bit dizzy then. I have been for a 5k run this morning, but that's got nothing to do with it. No, I didn't like it then. That was weird. So I'm walking over to the corner. Oh no, I feel dizzy. I don't like that at all. Oh, I feel sick. Right, I don't like it in here. I feel sick. I actually feel sick. I feel dizzy. Let's go and stand in that corner down there. Right, just in the canteen area, the food preparation area, and I walked to the right when I went in, and I felt dizzy, quite sick. Not a very nice feeling at all.
them working in here on their own.
I can imagine. The thing is, of course, you'll be heightened to anything that goes on, won't you? Do you know what I mean? You'll almost be expecting something, won't you, at times?
Again, but because you're on your own, any slightest noise or anything,
You know it's
like,
exactly, yeah, because you're wondering what it is. I feel dizzy in here, to be honest with you. I don't know whether it's just... I don't know. As soon as I walk out, I feel fine, but I do actually feel quite dizzy in here. And I'm not bullshitting either. Oh, it's like, I don't know, it's weird.
Something pulling on your legs.
Something's pulling on your legs.
There's a vibration to that.
It does. I did feel quite
It's the gravity.
quite weird.
Yeah, it's the inner feelings.
This is the more cornerly bit of the classroom now.
Right.
The teacher who's in here, she said many a time she's opened the door, gone to turn lights on, and lights have gone on. They've been switched on. She opened the door and put her hand there. She got her hand there.
Yeah.
The light will turn on.
Before she even touches it.
Yeah. So she used to freak out about that. She's not bothered by it now.
What does she teach? What is it? Do you know?
It's criminology in here.
Oh right. Oh right. Okay. That's interesting.
Criminals. Psychology of criminals.
Is it sixth form, isn't it? As
Yeah.
well? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
We don't have a criminal.
So this corner, this is quite a strange. It's a strange shaped room, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because that panel's been taken off.
And so directly underneath here is where
Probably a lake.
the old graveyard used to be.
From what I can gather, the graveyard started, yeah, pretty much around there, and it went up that way.
Right.
So
up
it,
the hill.
it would
Yeah.
have come back. It wouldn't have been just like a thin strip. It would have come back this way a little bit
Yeah.
and gone up. When I speak to people who, there's a guy who works in here, he's lived around here all his life. He said, from what he remembers, the graveyard was actually further over, like halfway across where that yard is.
Okay.
But other people have said, no, it came further back, it came further down here.
Right. That's quite a steep embankment, isn't it, that?
Yeah.
So did they dig that out then to lay the foundations for this part of the school, do you think? Or has that always been...
I think they'll have done something to it to make it, because they've obviously built the yard up there,
Yeah, it's stepped, isn't it?
so they'll have had to make that level.
There's something not right in here as well. I don't know, you'll have to find one.
There'll be a bin near the desk.
There'll be a bin near the desk, James. There you go, next on the right hand side there, near the desk. Yeah, there's something a bit odd.
It's the same feeling I have in my legs in that corner I have over there.
So what is it, what sort of, like,
Static thing.
a bit wobbly?
Yeah.
I felt dizzy in that other room.
It's unusual, it's not good vibration.
Yeah, I feel different. Just stand still. Jump up and down.
Yeah, whoa. Yeah. That's almost like it's an uneven floor there.
I think it's called Roger.
You think it's what? Roger? It's interesting.
I don't want to get in. I don't want to end up going.
Okay.
I'll try that at night then.
Right, well, when I walked in here, the first thing I thought was, there's a man in here. But I didn't say anything because... Sarah, when I walked in this room, the first thing I thought was, there's a man in here.
No, upstairs, Roger or John. Roger was the name I got upstairs, and it just like it's popped in my head.
So which floor was that on?
On the top by the music room.
Okay.
That's where the little boy's been seen.
It's a bit odd. It's a bit odd that there's a mannequin.
It is quite strange as the mannequin, yeah.
Is that mannequin always been? It's a bit odd.
It's just a mannequin, that thing, on the corner.
It's just a quick bit of coincidence, I suppose.
It is a little
The
bit.
uniform, right? Showing up what the uniform is.
Could be a bit cool.
There's a man in here.
I don't know whether it's the shape of the room that's opportune.
I think the shape of the room is doing something.
Strange.
The shape of the room is definitely doing
I think
something.
that puts you in the frame of mind for being
Go check the cupboards.
No.
No.
The shape of the room definitely. There's so many angles. that it puts you on alter, but there's something weird about that podcast.
It does. Your eyes are automatic. Sorry, James. Your eyes are automatically drawn to that corner.
Yeah.
Aren't they? When you walk in.
I heard that. I heard about that.
You know, oddly enough, she used to have that corner blocked off to the teacher,
Right.
No, I heard something
and
about
she had it. We did have some foam blocks that you can sit on.
Yeah.
She had a load of them stacked up in corner, and she would never say why. We got rid of the foam blocks and cleared all that corner out.
I'm just going to go and stand in that corner again for a minute.
So to be honest, you couldn't actually get into that corner before.
No.
She had all the foam blocks across it, and then she had a big whiteboard on the stand.
So you couldn't get into this bit here.
And she had it blocked off from about there.
It's like it's moving. It's actually like it's physically moving. I feel like I'm on a It's like I feel like I'm on a boat.
It's like it's your muscles and your legs. It's the same thing in that cafeteria.
Yeah.
In that
There's obviously some energy or something, isn't there?
It's just slightly uneven. You have to get a spirit level out.
The way that the building is built.
Yeah, I heard that.
You'd have to put a spirit level on to see if it's
The building is coming down into this corner. Very slowly it is. But when I say it's coming down, it's probably only moved half an inch or so.
In 10
But
years.
it's not enough to make you feel odd. It is weird.
It's like being on a boat.
If you stand still, you can feel it in your calf muscles
Yeah.
and your legs.
It's exactly the same feeling as I had in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
It's the whole school and all like the
Certain regular walking, certain corridors I'll go on to, instantly open your eyes up, put back in the neck,
there's
and
like
the arms.
Yeah.
massive foundation.
Yeah. No, listen, it's just sinking a little bit on the foundations.
Yeah, but if there's like a massive, really strong foundation there and the whole school is moving this way, it's crushing together. So each second it's crushing a tiny centimetre.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Don't mention anything about
I won't. No, but I'll mention.
Classic, though.
Obviously, I'll mention a corner. Because that
There aren't that many
This corner will look
BS, whatever they called them,
in 20
building
years,
schools for the
I bet
future,
it's
that's it. BSF buildings that are very well done.
20 years.
I think ours is one that I really keep still standing. To be honest, if I had this room, I'd want these horrible grey walls painted.
yeah, the horrible breeze blocks, aren't they?
yeah.
It's like a friction between
I really would have
like a friction between astronomical particles in the air.
I still can't understand why they've left what's root there concrete walls, it's horrible.
No.
In the fire escapes, all ours are but they're only to the elements anyway at the top. Because they're only used for fire escapes.
We'll go down this way.
It's certainly interesting. It is strange, yeah. Like I say, the kitchen didn't feel right, and the hell I thought there's a figure there. That corner room didn't feel right. Definitely didn't feel right.
When that penny was thrown,
Yeah.
we were around here. This corner wall wasn't here. We moved these walls about.
Yeah.
That wasn't there. So that was open, and you could see the stairs. And there were three of us walking abreast, and we got to about here, and the penny come up that way,
So
diagonally
it came down the
across,
stairs.
Came diagonally across, and it hit the window. But it hit it with some force.
Did it hit a painting?
No, it hit the window. But like I say, it hit it with some force.
Are there any like...
Just let him finish, Jack.
No, there's more.
No cracks, no. It's all right.
In fact, it could have been. I can't remember if it was on this side of the pillar or that side of the pillar, but I found the penny straight away. I said, we read out, you couldn't pick it up.
That's very strange, that, because normally they're cold, aren't they?
But oddly enough, just next to that pillar there,
Yeah.
there was a little glass bottle. It looked like a test tube about that tall,
Yeah.
only really thin, with a small cork in it,
Yeah.
and like a really old smell of perfume.
Right.
And that was just there on the floor. Well, it weren't there before
No.
because the cleaners have been in and cleaned up.
So that was there at the same time that the penny.
Yeah.
That's weird, isn't it?
And we come down this area because, like I said, we could hear talking and then we could hear wailing. So we come down here, walk down to the kitchen and come back, and you could still hear something. So we were stood up here next to fences to see if there was anybody on the bridge. Like from here, you can see through the classroom onto that corridor.
Yeah.
Well, we were looking that way, that blue thing.
Yeah.
We're moving, and then you can see a shadow in the doorway of that office. Then a couple of minutes later, the shadow went up that way, past the corridor. That goes up some stairs and links onto this corridor. So I legged it down that way to see if there's anybody there, and there were nobody there.
Right.
But I knew there were nobody else in the building anyway.
So that's just like a sort of that blue fin. It's just like a piece of card, isn't it? Really?
Well, it's not even card. It's
like fabric, isn't it? It's fabric with a sign. Yeah.
That were fluttering.
That were flapping, and then you saw a dark figure moving across through those rooms over there.
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder if that was it. I wonder if that was the woman. Bet it was, you know.
Possibly, because like of the wailing as well.
Yeah, and it's quite near to the kitchen area, isn't it? This.
Yeah.
So I would suspect that the whole of this area here is probably where the old graveyard used to be, or the way into the graveyard.
Possibly.
Yeah. So almost like a sort of path, or a road, or something,
well, see,
or the route that they used to take, you know, when they were going to the funerals or what have you.
Yeah. This is linked. You can walk in a big circle way around here.
Yeah.
And like I said, the penny must have been thrown from here across diagonally. Then when we come back up here, it went back that way up the corridor. So it could have been a path that led.
Yeah, could have been, yeah. I think that's probably a reasonable explanation.
Yeah, but it is quite strange. A few times I've been sat in the staff room and I've looked up at level 3. It draws my eye out times that window going into level 3, and I've seen, it looks like somebody stood at the glass looking down into the canteen, and then they walk away and they walk down the corridor.
So is that the little boy, or is that more of an adult size?
The one I've seen walking away was a bigger person.
Right, and that's up on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
See, because the one down here, although the penny thing is strange, that would suggest that it's more interactive, more like a poltergeist in a way. But if it was just doing a loop, then that's like a replay.
Yeah.
But obviously, if it's throwing things, and there was the perfume bottle that appeared as well, that would suggest that it isn't. That's interesting, that.
There's a photocopy on this level here.
Yeah.
You need to type a code in for it. Right. It won't do anything if you don't type the code in.
And is that the one that keeps setting off?
That'll go. The lifts will start going up and down.
That's weird, because you've got to code it in.
Yeah.
I've jumped in late now I don't get in lift at night when I'm doing lock-up. I'll use the stairs, because I have been in lift, and as I've gone to press which floor I want to go to, all the buttons have lit up and I've just been riding lift for about 10 minutes. So I don't.
That again suggests poltergeist activity. That's interactive, do you know what I mean? Rather than just a replay.
Yeah. So I just don't bother with it.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. That's really interesting. I am going to try and get hold of a map of this, let's say circa 1900, and have a look and see what was here. Because there's obviously, I mean, the woman is obviously something to do with the graveyard, the wailing and everything else. That's obvious, isn't it, when you think about it? The little boy. I mean, I wonder if there was any mills or anything around here.
Oh, because there would have been hundreds of mills around here.
Yeah.
Like India Mill across the road.
That's the one with the big tower, isn't it?
Big chimney, yeah.
Big chimney.
But all around here would have been full of mills.
Yeah, so I'm wondering whether that's got something to do with it.
Just on the corner where traffic light is, there were a pub there, I think it was called the Rose and Crown, something like that. And
that's next to Sainsbury's. That's Sainsbury's there, isn't it? Is that
Sainsbury's
there?
across the road. They were on like this side. And when they knocked that down and they were digging down for foundations, they found 3 skeletons there, all in fetal position.
And were they young?
Man, woman,
and child. Blimey. Gets better, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was just it, back garden at pub.
Is it in the cellar?
No. Back garden of the pub.
Well, it could have been in cellar, but I don't know how far down it were.
They have a habit around here in winter, if the ground is frozen solid, they bury it in the cellar.
Right.
Because it was easier to dig a hole.
He has a ghost he calls her Henrietta. She was in the cellar, basically, that's where they buried her.
Right.
You can't hack into the ground.
Yeah, well, that makes sense, I suppose.
Mm. So then you wonder.
The infant death rate was about 25 to 50% to the age of 5 when this place was developed.
Yeah.
So how old would you say the little boy is then? Has anybody given an indication? Sort of like under 10 or maybe a bit older?
Yeah, like 9ish, around that age, something like that, 9 or 10.
Have you heard the voice of him?
That, you see, that to me sounds, like I said, it sounds more like a replay, but if it's up on the 3rd floor, that would suggest it isn't, because obviously, unless there was sort of like 3-floored buildings here before, which is unlikely, it would be a coincidence.
Yeah.
Because if it was a replay, it would have to have been on. There would have to have been a building on that level.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for him to be on the same level, so that would suggest that it's a movable energy. It's a ghost that moves around.
The one that, like I say, I felt cold spots around the building and stuff goes on, like all the lights going on and off and all that kind of business.
Yeah.
When that happens, you don't feel threatened by it.
Did the light just come on then?
Yeah, because they're on sensors.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say.
No, it's weird at night when you're the only person in building, and I've been out on AstroTurf kicking last teams off so I can lock up.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to them, and so I got me back to the building. Like, come on, you got to go now. And all of a sudden, you can see the faces like that. Right, come on, we're going. You look like, what's going on? And all lights will be doing all sorts in the building. So what's going on? Who's in? No one's in. And all lights
are going on and off.
Yeah. But the woman who works here, Kaz, she was telling me maybe about 7 years ago, something like that. Her and the caretaker at the time, they were out locking AstroTurf up, turned round and they saw somebody in the building.
Right.
Well, they knew there was nobody in the building because they'd done a full lock-up.
Yeah.
They checked everywhere. So they knew there was nobody in. They knew that you can't get in, all the doors were locked. If you go in the door near the staff room, you can hear it opening and shutting. You can hear it for other end of AstroTurf. So they ran across, got back in the building and split up and ran round everywhere, never found anything. Got them to check CCTV day after, never saw anything on CCTV.
And yet they heard the door.
They saw a guy stood in the window.
Yeah.
So they went running in. It shows on CCTV, you can see them running into the building and splitting up and running round.
Yeah.
But they never ever saw anybody else.
Weird. Right. Well, plenty to go out there.
Yeah.
Should we make our way back? I'll just knock that off. I hope you enjoyed that podcast. It was certainly a little bit different to what I normally do. If you want to contact me, you can do so through my website at www.craigbryant.co.uk, or you can contact me through Facebook, which is the Shadow Man of Accrington. Hopefully there will be another podcast up soon, but in the meantime, thank you for listening, take care, and remember to keep watching those shadows.